Hello, and welcome to another episode of Dave Trippin'. So it's Wednesday, or Tuesday, depending on where you are. And that means that I'm going to do a question and answer video taken from one of the emails that I have. So if you wish to have your questions answered about living or teaching in Japan or about life in general, get a hold of me in my email down below or through any of the social media contacts that I flash up on the screen now. The topic I wanted to talk about today because it's amazing actually how many people write me with this question or this concern, and it is no exaggeration. I don't say that and it's like two. No, it's of the hundreds of emails I've gone through, it's quite a few of them. And it's this concern that as a non-native speaker of English, even if their English ability is incredibly high, near native, will they, because they are not born in an English-speaking country, can they not teach English in Japan? And the good news that I get to bring to you is that you can, and you being a non-native speaker is mostly a deterrent, but not an absolute restriction. This myth, basically, that you need to be a native speaker, one, is kind of intuitive because you're like, oh, if you're going to teach English, isn't it natural that that would be a legal requirement? But two, in that a lot of these large dispatch companies, which is for the most part what a lot of people come in contact with because of the large reach of their advertising, it's what a lot of people come in contact with to begin with, on their requirements, these companies will say that they require that you must be a native speaker of English for you to be hired. But the company requirements are not the legal requirements. There is nothing in the Japanese work visa situation that states that you must be a native speaker of English if you were to receive a work visa for the private sector, which is like a humanities work visa, or an instructor visa, which is working in the public sector. The rules for the public sector are pretty clear that you need to have a degree, but it's not that you would be a native speaker. In the private sector, it gets a little bit more fuzzy, where you could potentially be hired with without a degree, but with some additional qualifications, say something like a TESOL or a CELTA certification that could get you in there. But it is a myth, and so rejoice, non-native speakers of English, because if you do want to come over and work here, that is not a legal restriction against you if you are interested in teaching English. And I would even advise as well that, remember especially that when these large dispatch companies, that maybe you look at them and you're a little discouraged by that, in brackets, requirement that they have, it may not actually be. Even if it says that, I would still, if you're trying to explore all the different options that you have, I would still apply to some of those companies because until it becomes like especially known that you are not a native speaker, you may make it incredibly far through the process by virtue of the fact that your English is at such an incredibly high level, which many people are. I mean, make no mistake about it, that a lot of the people who write me who are non-native speakers write at a much higher level of English than the native speakers of English do when they write to me. So there is definitely the potential there, even if one of these companies says that it has these requirements. I would say for anything aside from a legal document, things like that are more of a suggestion up until a point. But I would say that yeah, mostly it's kind of a suggestion. Definitely like things that you might see with these dispatch companies too is like a very, very specific Japanese level requirement or something. But again, this is sort of an outline with this kind of position where if they say they need to fill some holes, or maybe simply you just do so well on everything else in your application that you get through, but you are not shut out. So I don't need to talk for an hour in a day about this very simple detail, which is that if you are non-native, you can still go for it. You can still get a work visa. It's still entirely legal. And that I would also give that little extra recommendation. Don't feel discouraged from some of these larger dispatch companies that may have listed as a requirement that you are a native speaker if your English ability is high enough. I say go for it and try. There's nothing to lose, right? So and everything to gain. I will make a little correction now, harkening back to the video I just made. I was talking about Altia and how awesome they were because they were in the Kanto region. I messed that up. So basically, what more I was trying to say, and the point still stands in the video, is that Altia is great as a company that, that hires you and is one of the better dispatch companies. It is not the greater Kanto area, but it is basically central Japan. It moves down a little bit more south, but the point I was making is that it is kind of central, and that's a benefit if you do want to travel. So that is corrected for you. If you watch my videos with any regularity, then you can get that little bit of updated info, so you know explicitly what that means. But they wouldn't have contracts in, say, Saitama or Ibaraki or something like that. It would be like moving slightly south of Tokyo and then a little bit further south. But that's good to know. Okay, so if you enjoy videos like this, please do like, subscribe, comment, and share. Maybe even hit that double subscribe, which has now manifested itself in the form of that bell, which if you select that bell notification, then whenever I create a video, you will be updated immediately on likely your mobile device, your phone. So you can catch stuff just as it comes out, and you won't have to be left wondering when I did or did not make something if you can't always get over to your computer. What else? If you're interested, link for my ebook down below if you want to check out Stoneheart. That's good times. Good times, I would say. My Patreon is also down below if you would care to support me there. Of course, I'm eternally grateful for that, or simply coming to check out the video. I really, really appreciate it. I think there's nothing else to report currently, aside from I do have all this stored up footage, which now, since I'm through my Wednesday video, I'll be going for a long edit, which will take me through to the weekend, and I'll be uploading something that's kind of like a cool, it's either going to be like a walk through Yoyogi Park, or it's going to be, where was it, doing this cool food tour that I did with Dean recently, where we went into this really cool sushi river place, which is novel, but also really, really good. Of course, there's all these different grades of quality, and this place is awesome and has a bunch of like unique concoctions that they're making up for you there. It was a lot of fun, so I'm gonna put in a good effort editing that. But that's all for now. Thanks for checking out the video. I'll say it again always, I really, really appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.